Well, welcome everyone. Good to see you again. Good to see some of you from the retreat Saturday, and looking forward to the next part of it. It really won't be a repeat. Um, some things will be in common, but we're going to sort of go on from where we were. Um, and some of the comments from the retreat brought us to this class tonight. Um, and I want to say a few words about where we're going and sort of put it in context so you have a sense of it, at least intellectually, before we do it. So, needless to say, the Taoist practice of Qigong came into existence a long time before psychotherapy. I think it's maybe 5,000 years before, or who knows, a long time. So, what it was really focused on doing in a practical sense was, um, I guess they would have said, purifying the chi. And so what that meant was that we would get in touch with the feeling of chi in the body and in the mind, and then we'd be aware of anything that was blocking it, or that was, you might say, that was very heavy, um, because the chi can be very dense, or it can be very, very fine, very diffuse. It can be concentrated or diffuse. So it can be like the trunk of a tree, the roots of a tree, or it can be very diffuse, like the leaves and then the surrounding area. So the heavy elements of living on this planet uh, can't become lighter without some practice. And so the psychotherapy, as an example, will go into, bring up childhood trauma, or bring up emotions and so on, relationships, and then work to understand them and not be so caught in them, and to let them go. And Qigong was doing that a long time ago, and it wasn't by talk therapy. It was by releasing through the body. And that's not to say that any of these practices run counter to psychology or psychotherapy. It doesn't say that at all. I think what it says is that they can really go hand in hand. And that's why I'm telling you this now, because we're all very educated people, and so our intellects are activated, and that's useful. It's not the whole deal, but it's useful. And then when we combine that with the body awareness and body movement, we can we can really become effective in what I would say diffusing uh, elements that are binding us, that are heavy. And that can be physical pain, it can be emotional pain, it can be stored trauma, it can be restlessness, it can be delusion, or it can be a sense of depression, any of these things, which the Taoists would say these are heavy. These things are heavy. Okay, and so when we go and we move into, if you were at the retreat, we went into suffusion, where we suffuse the whole body with a feeling, and then beyond that, it's radiance, and that's connection with that. This is diffusion. So this is where the mind just becomes very, very big and diffuse, becomes closer and closer to something like light, rather than thinking. Okay, and so that was the technique that the Taoists were using. That we're moving this, and that they would say that's a state of very refined chi. That there are no objects. It's just energy. So it's very, very refined chi. And that by doing that and moving through that, whatever is stuck in the body or in the body mind just eventually just dissolves. So it was the ancients' way of becoming free of childhood trauma, becoming free of physical pain, emotional pain, all these things that are holding us back. So they were using the body to do that in their meditative practices. They weren't using talking. Okay, so we're going to go into diffusion, into these kind of samadhi kind of states, which we can do through this, as you know. And the ancients then would go and they'd move into moving the qi through the body in that state. And just trust that whatever is stuck or whatever's heavy is going to just move and eventually lighten, which it does. At the same time, when we get into these expanded states, if we want to, we can practice insight meditation. And one of the ways to do that is to bring up something that's blocking us. Bring it up into that spaciousness. And it can't be there. It's too heavy. And so it gets diffused. Okay? And this is the process, right? So we can, if we want to, and I'm not saying to do this, I'm saying this is appropriate if you want to, that when you get into this state of diffusion, and you can feel it, we'll be there soon, you can stay in it, you can circulate it through the body, and we'll do that, that's Qigong, or you can go into insight practice and then bring up whatever you want to bring up into that space of expanded awareness and then allow it to reveal itself. Just in the light of awareness, you can come to a more of an understanding of it or acceptance of it or a release of it. Okay? So I bring this up because this was part of the comments. Some of the comments from the retreat were about this. You know, I was doing these practices and I was weeping and all this was coming up and out. And so I want to focus on that a little bit as an option. Okay? Because traditionally that was not on the radar, but now it is. Okay? So that's a lot of talking, but I wanted you to understand the context of this. So the reason all of these movements are slow and careful and flowing is because we're mixing the attention, mixing consciousness with form and movement. And right away, it makes it lighter, right? So let's just, as an example, let's just do cloud hands, okay? So you can imagine yourself, if you like, standing in the warm Caribbean Sea, the beautiful waters, you know, I don't know, up to here or something, and then just moving in that liquid medium. Okay, and so this is wave hands through clouds, and clouds are very diffuse. They're objects, but sort of just barely. And by moving in this way, and then imagining that we're surrounded by clouds, or water, rainbow clouds works, light, any of these things. And then extending our consciousness beyond the sensation, just saying, what would it feel like right now to be moving in the warm, sunlit, turquoise water so gently? And we're not just imagining it, we're feeling it. What's the feeling of this? Or what's the feeling if we were so tall that we were moving our hands through these clouds, maybe rainbow clouds, luminous clouds? What would be the feeling? And then, what would the cloud feel? How would the cloud be feeling right now? Or if we're in the warm, beautiful water, what would the water be feeling? We can do this because we're empathetic beings. We can feel what someone else is feeling. What would it feel like if this body was a mile high and very, very light and could be moving effortlessly through the sky? What would that feel like? Okay, so that's why these movements are so gentle and slow and rhythmic. And then we're moving with the breath. The air is moving this body. It's just effortless. What would it feel like to be a cloud being moved through the sky by the wind? How would that feel? Okay, and let's reduce the movements a little. Now, as we're reducing the movements, the feeling remains. Okay, little by little. And even as we stop and we come into solidity, there's this sense of lightness, there's this expanded sense of the body because we're also sensing the air. Air is coming and going in the body and all around us, and we can feel out into it, particularly behind us. You can feel out in all directions from the body. Okay. Okay, very good. So that's just a sense, and the feeling right now, the chi is activated. Maybe you can feel the tingling in your hands or somewhere in your body, or the heat, the skin, the radiance, you're radiating heat. So the body is a little less solid. And so this is the early stages of diffusion, where suddenly we're more connected to everything around us. Okay, and then so to acknowledge that, let's bow to the directions. We face the east. So we're sending our heart out to the east, where the sun rises. Okay, and then we turn to the south. We're sending our heart to the south. And turn to the west, where the sun sets. Sending our awareness to the west. And then finally to the north. And then back to the screen. And now we're going to extend our awareness, dip the knees, going up, up, up. The eyes follow. Stretch the hands, stretch the fingers a little, and extend up to the North Star, to the universe. Extend way up. Good. And now let's let the arms go down all around. And then carefully extend our attention down to the earth. And then back up. And then inward. Okay. So that's the external. And now let's just do this practice, this Qigong practice. So we'll start with your dominant hand. If you know this, you can use both hands. Start with a dominant hand. And with the in-breath, we're going to point the finger to the inside of the spine, going up. The attention goes up to the head, out the top of the head, then come back. The attention runs down the inside of the body, all the way down, belly, down to the perineum, point down to the earth, extend, and then repeat in-breath, moving the attention up the spine, moving the eyes, and then looking up, and then down the front of the body. Okay, very good. So repeat, so in-breath, breathe normally, bringing it up. When it reaches the top, then we're going to start the other hand. So one hand's going up, one's going down. And then there's a little stretch. And then they keep going. And so you can put some body English into this if you want. Move with the breath. Okay, this is moving the chi in the torso from the perineum all the way up to the crown of the head. This is called the microcosmic orbit. And this is the body movement. Also, by adding consciousness to it, what would it feel like if there were laser beams of light coming out of the fingers and touching the body inside? So we're creating this oval of light. It's like on the 4th of July when you were a little kid and you had sparklers and you waved them around. It made that sort of, that light. Okay, let's reduce the movement. It's just the hands moving from the perineum to the head. Very good, and now let's reduce the movements of the hands. Okay, very good. One's going to end up over the heart, the other over the belly. And now just with the breath and the eyes if you want to. So starting looking down inside the body, down the perineum. In breath, look up the back of the spine. Up the top of the head, out breath, eyes move down the front. Okay, so what is this doing? It's taking the physical energy, the life force energy of the body, the aliveness. It's combining it with your consciousness, your intention. And already by doing that, it's more refined. And then moving this refined energy of your awareness through the body. And then as you let the eyes become still, and just let the torso then just come into kind of this glowing, rather than this movement. Now it's just this kind of glowing presence. This is awareness. With the out breath, radiate it out a little bit through the pores of the skin. In breath, concentrate it. Okay, and let's let go of that and just notice, how's the body feeling? How are you doing? How's the mind? How am I feeling right now? How do my hands feel? How's the breath? Can I feel the tingling in the body? That's life. That's energy. Yeah. This is a unique moment. It's never happened exactly like this before, and will not happen exactly like this again. Just this moment. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, let's go ahead and break your stance if you like. Come back to standing. All right, and let's loosen the body here. Let's do 3 back washes and 3 tree and spring. So letting the neck be very loose. Tuck the chin. And before the head comes up, you're going to focus on the tips of the fingers. Now this is the microcosmic orbit. We're bringing this up the inside of the spine. Up, out the top of the head. Extend. What's it feel like way up there? Out, extend all around. Sink. Point again. We're bringing up the coarse, unrefined energy of the earth, bringing it up through the body where it gets finer and finer, merging it with our consciousness, till finally it goes all the way up, out, and then we return, and one more. This is sweeping the body. It's bringing anything that's heavy, it's bringing it up, it's getting it lighter and lighter till it dissolves out, and then sort of falls down like rain. Okay. And then opening up the spine, releasing anything that's tight. And now we're going to wake up pointing down as we come up, and then coming up the inside of the body, getting finer and finer, going up into just light, way up, and condensing, coming down, and repeat. And then one more. Okay, last one. Okay, just feel the spine opening, opening. All the way down to the tailbone. And then slowly coming up. All right, and let's open the heart, open the chest, open the hands, sink. Laser beams of light coming from the fingers, and then opening the rib cage, opening the chest, the lungs, opening the heart, opening the whole body. It's like a milkweed pod, just splitting open. And this is opening all 7 gates. It's like taking off an old overcoat that you don't need. Winter's over. Just gonna unbutton it, drop it. A couple more. Everything pops open. Okay, good. Now let's go ahead now and do any version you like of flying crane. There are many. So begin with an in-breath, out-breath. Okay, extend down into the earth. What would it feel like to have roots that are down in the earth? Extend way up. What would it feel like to be the sun? Extend out from the hands. See the whole world below you if you're flying at very high altitude like cranes do. Extend the consciousness out in all directions. particularly behind. So the air is supporting you, lifting you. The in-breath lifts you, and there's a relaxation. Expand out. You might want to try just holding some of these positions for a few breaths. With the out breath, extend out farther. Becomes kind of a cosmic crane. Extending out in all directions. Okay, let's slowly reduce the movements. And then let's finish with standing. Sense the stillness, uprightness. The body is connecting heaven and earth. And the movement is now internal. The breath, the heartbeat. Okay, let's go ahead and take our seat. Yeah, let's take a little bit to loosen the body. Um, Move the head around a little. Move the shoulders a little. Circle the torso if you like, or the chin, or both. We're not warming up, we're not getting ready. This is the meditation right now. And now this external movement, loosen the body. And as we reduce the movement, we come into the upright stillness. And now maybe the tingling becomes more present, more clear. Every cell in the body is alive. Every cell in the body is moving internally. So stillness is made up of trillions of cells that are moving. And we call that stillness. And then all of this movement is occurring in the space of awareness, which is beyond space and time, which is always and forever now, and is completely still. Okay, now let's just take that sense of that tingling aliveness that we can feel, and let's mix our consciousness with it and intentionally send it out with the out breath, and then concentrate it in the torso with the in breath. You may get a sense of that microcosmic orbit when you concentrate it. And then when you radiate it, that feeling of expansiveness. The out breath is letting go. We're letting go of even the constraints of the physical body. Because the consciousness is not constrained by the physical body. Consciousness is free to go wherever you send it. You want to send it out all around the body, that's where it'll go. You want to concentrate it in the body, that's where it'll go. As the breathing becomes more fine and the heart rate slows down, you're aware of the inconstancy, the constant energetic presence in the body, and then we're sending it out and bringing it in. And soon even that intention becomes more diffuse and it's just happening. And there's a real feeling of freedom, which may create a little smile. And if we just bring our attention for a moment into the heart area, this would be the center of this concentration and then this diffusion. Maybe you can see the body from above that's sitting kind of in the middle of like this, something like a dandelion that's gone to seed. It's just all this radiance around it. And that radiance is consciousness. Mixed with heat and electromagnetism and other things. But okay, and now let's put our attention in that field surrounding the body. The field is conscious. Let it just be constantly there. The field is energetic, just like this, the feeling of qi in the body. It's like that. So this is a diffusion of the heart space. This is a very refined state. It's like light. And heavy things like thoughts are down below. They really can't live up here. And so you can stay in this extended state, that's fine. Or you can move this through the body with a microcosmic orbit. Or if you want to, you can select some heavy thing, not too heavy, something that's a blockage, and intentionally bring it into the heart space. And let it be there. And just watch it. See what happens. So any of these three options, just be in this extended space, circulate the energy in the body, or out of the body, around the body, or use this rarefied space to dissolve any blockage. If thoughts begin to arise, or stiffness or something, go ahead and move the body a little bit. If you find yourself sinking down or losing concentration, just drop right into the body. Feel the breath, the heart, or move the body a little. It's fine. The body is part of this. And you can try returning to this expanded space. let's take a few more breaths. Okay, and now with the next out breath, let's move the awareness out all around the body. Okay, very good. Now, when you can keep going out if you like, and you move into expanded space that is transpersonal. So at first it's centered in this heart and this body and this being. But as it gets more diffuse, it connects in with all kinds of other spaces. And in this expanded space, there's no space and time. So if you want to connect with somebody who's far away or somebody who has died, or if you want to connect through time back to yourself as a child or to somebody else, then you can do that. If you want. And if you're feeling a little tired or losing concentration, it'll just drop back into the sensations in the body. It's perfectly fine. Even move a little bit if you want to. You're in charge. And place your consciousness where you want it. Okay, let's take a few more breaths. And now we're going to put our awareness a little more on the in-breath. So concentrating this diffusion, bringing it into the body, lighting up the torso. Focus on the in-breath, come into the sensations in the body, sensations of the energy. Come into the feeling of the heaviness of the body, pressure, heat, how it feels. The expanded state is still there, it's always there. And we're not abandoning it, we're just bringing our attention into the body, into the here and now. And then slowly maybe begin to move a little. Take a deep breath or two and open your eyes if they're shut. Move the hands, feet. And just come fully back. Okay, you'll notice you haven't gone anywhere. I mean, the whole expanded awareness is here. It's always here. It's been here before we were born. It's always here. We haven't left it. We've just chosen to put our attention into this body, into this mind, into this space. But it's always there. Okay. Well, very good. So let's Let's go ahead and clap our hands one time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Make heat and massage the eye sockets. Massage the hair, scalp, tug on the ears. Okay, and make little fists, loose fists. Tap the kidneys, massage the kidneys. Okay, now if you'd like to continue the meditation, that's just fine. And if you want to exit, that's just fine, or you want to walk, you don't want to talk, I don't think that's completely fine. I totally understand. If you would like to stay and participate in questions or comments, then you can do that. So, thank you so much for your practice.